Welcome to our lesson on the Hypericum berries. This is a very popular wedding berry that is used as a filler in wedding bouquets and wedding arrangements. I actually had a wedding last summer, which Hypericum berries were part of the theme, the floral theme, and they are just great. The wonderful thing about these berries is that they are so easy to make. They're very simple. They don't take a lot of time. The reason why you should make a lot of these is that they are very quick to just grab some and put them together with some floral tape and add them as fillers into your arrangements. And I always have a great supply of these on hand. You can make these while you're sitting down watching TV, and you will see how easy it is to make these. Very, very easy, and you hardly need any supplies. So why don't we get started, and I'll show you how to make these berries. Okay, to make these berries, the only thing you're going to need is some gum paste and some floral wire. We're going to be using 26 gauge green floral wire, and we're going to cut them in thirds. Now, I've only started out with 3 of them, so I cut them in thirds, so we have 9 pieces here. And they don't have to be exact. They can be different. You could do some that are less than a third and some a little bit more than a third. And that's a good thing, because when you put your Hypericum berries together in a group, you want to put them in at different sizes. So you could either make your wires all 1/3, or when you put them in arrangements, you can move them up and down in your arrangement. So some are taller, some are smaller, and work with that. So I'm just going to make 9 of these right now. You're going to need some ivory gum paste, some light ivory gum paste or off-white. I don't like to use white in this instance because I like to start out with a more muted tone. So the tone I would like is an ivory to start out with, and then we're going to be adding color to them once they're dry. And then the only other thing you're going to need is some edible glue. And so let's get started. When you are making these Hypericum berries, we're just going to take a little bit out at a time. These are very, very simple. And what you could do, if you'd like, you can grab a container and make a few balls and then put them in the container so they don't dry out. So you want to just roll them up into balls, and this would be probably the largest one you want to make. You want to make them at various sizes. You don't want them all to be the exact same size because they are not in real life. I would say the largest would be the size of a blueberry, and the smallest maybe the size of a small pea. Let's try here. That's a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. That's about the smallest size you would want. That's the size of a small pea. That one's a little bit too small, so I'm going to add a little bit more to it. There, we have 9 berries here, and they're of various sizes, which is what we want. And then I'm going to start off with one. We're going to put the rest of these in this container with the lid so they don't dry out. All right, so we're going to take one of our wires, and you don't need to do anything to prep the wire. You don't need to add any floral tape onto it. You don't need to add a hook onto it, just nothing, just plain old, plain old. And then we're going to just dip it into our edible glue. And we also want to have a little cornstarch on hand to wipe on your fingers. So we're going to take this ball, and we're just going to push it through, push the wire through, and we want to bring it so the top of the wire comes slightly through. You want it to peek through because when you see a Hypericum berry in real life, it has a little nub at the top of it. So you want it to kind of be nubbed right there at the top. Very small nub. And then you're going to get your fingers with some cornstarch, and you're just going to pinch it down onto the base here, just so it adheres to the base, and you want it to dry on the base, on the floral wire. Okay, and then we're just going to take off the excess, and if you want, you can just shape it up a little bit. They're basically round or a little bit oval shape. Now, this keeps wanting to move down the wire, so we're just going to adhere it a little bit better onto the wire. All right, and that's one of them. And we're going to let this dry. We're going to just set it aside, put it on your foam block to dry. I have one of these, it's just a dried floral, I guess it's floral foam. And I buy a block of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 blocks actually in this package. And I'll turn it upside down for a second to show you. And I buy this at Michael's craft store. And they come in they're bricks, they're floral bricks. And I just leave them in the package. I do not open the package because it's perfect for drying your flowers on. You just poke it through the plastic and you're good to go. So this is a very inexpensive way of drying your flowers. All right, so let's try another one. And you want to roll it so it's nice and thin, and I'm sorry, nice and smooth. Then you get a floral wire, you dip it in your edible glue and push it through. And you want to have a little point of that sticking out. So you push it out a little bit, and then you pinch the bottom so it adheres to the wire. Now you don't want this piece at the top sticking out too far. This is a little bit much. I'm going to push it up just a little bit. You just want a little nub sticking out, that's all. And that's it. This one is finished. I'm going to add that to the drying rack here. Now with the Hypericum berries, you can also add texture. Some of them look smooth and then some of them are texturized. And I'm going to show you how to texturize them real quick. It's just a little bit of texture, makes a difference. I'm going to put the berry onto our wire. I'm going to get a little cornstarch, pinch below. Make sure this little nub is sticking out. Okay, and then let's make sure that it's adhered to the wire. And then we're going to take our veining tool and we're just going to calm down a little bit, just give it some texture. Sometimes they have a little bit of texture at the top, and that's about it. And then you just want to make sure you get that nub back up there. Don't want it to come too far down. Just a little nub at the top. Okay, so that is it. That is how you're going to make them, and in the next step we're going to color them. But I would like you to dry them overnight because even though they may seem dry on the outside, that they still have some moisture on the inside. So gum paste dries from the outside in. So it's best to give them overnight so you know that they're completely dry the next day. Okay, now that we have allowed our Hypericum berries to dry overnight, they are hard as a rock, as you can see. And we're going to color dust them. And the colors that I've chosen, which I really like to use on the Hypericum berries, is a combination of a few different colors. So we're going to start out with lime green. And I'm going to take a little bit of the lime green. And then we're going to add in some either cream color or ivory. Cream is a little bit whiter, but the ivory is also really good. Then we're going to add a pink, and this is called Baby Girl Pink. I like to use this. It has a shimmer to it, and it gives the Hypericum berries a nice shine. So we want to use a little bit of that. And then I want to add a color that is sort of like a little bit of a raspberry. And I'm thinking this, if I'm looking at the different color shades here in this group, I'm thinking Dazzling Red actually has a nice raspberry look to it. So we're only going to use a little tiny touch of that. It's a little dark in color, so we don't want to use too much of that. And then I'm just for the tips of the Hypericum berries, I'm going to dab it with a little bit of brown. Not much, just a dab. So we're just going to take a dab of that out also. All right, so we're going to start out with mixing a little bit of the pink and some of the ivory together with the green. And want to give it, I'm going to add the rest of that ivory in. Okay, then we're going to take our Hypericum berries and we're going to just brush the whole thing. Then if you want more color, what we're going to do, let's pick out a brush that is comparative. I'm going to mix a little bit of this pink and just a touch of the raspberry, just a touch of it, to tone down the pink a little bit. It kind of makes it into a dusty rose. And then we're just going to just give one side a little blast of the color. By not coloring the entire thing, then with color, it gives it a little bit more definition. I mean, once we steam it, you're going to see the colors more. Okay, so that one has some color to it. Has green on one side and the rosy color on the other. And then you can also change up the colors a little bit. You can add a little bit more rosiness into it if you want the color to be deeper. Then we're going to go back to this brush. And we're going to brush all the way around. I'm going to add the rest of this baby pink in there. I like having a glimmer on the Hypericum berries because it's reflective of light. Okay, then we're going to add a little bit of this deeper color on the one side. And you see some of the indentations that we made at the top will start filling in more. And once you steam it, you'll be seeing those a lot. Same thing. And actually, once you start getting used to doing these, you can do several at one time because they are very little and they're very easy to work together with. So you can get maybe 3, 4, 5 at a time, and then just do the front side, turn them around, do the back side. And then you can add a little color on the one side. And if you want the color to be a little bit deeper, just add a little bit more raspberry in there. And then just kind of brush it on. You can just randomly add the color. You don't have to have it on just one side. You can do like a dab a little bit here and there, and you have some color on there. Okay, now I have just a few more to do. I have 4 more, so I'm going to do them all at the same time. I only made 9, but make as many as you think you would want. And you can even sit there in front of your TV and make a whole bunch of them, and you don't even have to color them. You can just make them and leave them like this, and when you are ready to use them, then you can color them and to help add the colors that help complement the arrangement, the floral arrangement that you're using on your wedding cake. So You don't always have to color them right away. Just make a whole bunch of them, and then you have them on hand. And they're great for fillers. Okay, and then I'm going to add the red, just here and there, randomly throwing some red in there. It's basically, this is more like a raspberry, dusty rose, a little bit darker than dusty rose. It's more of a raspberry. Now, some berries, some of the Hypericum berries, if you look on the internet, some are green, some are red, they're just a variety of different shades of red and pink and green. So just make them as they would complement your florals. All right, so now we have them all colored. I'm going to do the tips of them for a second, and I'll just show you real quick. So you have a smaller brush, and you just get a tiny bit of the brown, and you just dust the brown very carefully, just a little bit at the top, and it makes the top poke out some more. And again, you can do this with several of them at one time. I'm going to do 4 here, and you can even put them closer together, and then just dab a little bit of brown on each one of them. You want the tip to stick out as a little bit of on the brown color. Okay, see the difference? So I want you to get your steamer out and give them all a steam. Make sure they do not touch each other when you are steaming them, because they will stick together and you'll see the markings of them being stuck when you try to get them unstuck. When you are putting them together on an arrangement, so I'm going to take, just for instance, I still have to steam these, but just to show you, you want to pick a few that are different shapes, or I'm sorry, different sizes, and pick either 3 or 5. I always like to pair my flowers and leaves and fillers in odd numbers. So either start out with 3 or 5. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to start out, and I would I'm doing this in light green because I have them here, but I would stick with medium green. I just have this light green at my table here, so I'm just going to show you real quick. So you just want to vary them in sizes. So maybe a taller one at the top, and then just different lengths. So then this way it gives them interest. So then you're going to go around, and you don't even need to do the stems in floral tape, because they're very fine and you won't really need to do that. It's not going to be very noticeable. All right, so then you want to just put them in a stem and just kind of move them around a little bit, figure out where you want them, and then you could just add these into your floral bouquets. Thank you for watching this lesson on the Hypericum berries. They can be used in so many different ways on wedding cake flowers in the arrangements. And you may even not even think to use them, but if you have a bunch of them on hand, say you're putting together the florals on your wedding cakes, and say a cake, you notice there's an empty spot somewhere that you think, it really needs something. And these Hypericum berries are perfect to add in there as a filler area. And it will cover up any blank spots. So you can put them here and there within your florals on your wedding cakes. So I think this is a fabulous filler to use, and it is a great flower to have, or a great filler to use in your sugar flower portfolio. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another lesson.